This time I'd like to introduce Major General Hersey for the closing comments, sir.
Everyone's still hanging in there okay? Cool. So thank you again, General Shea, General Wood, Mike Warlick, for putting on another fantastic event. Thank you very much to the Armed Forces Communications and Electronics Association, better known as AFCEA, for bringing us together for some very, very important forums, presentations, and discussions that are going to make collectively us all better in getting after this very, very important, what I would consider a global challenge in cybersecurity. Thanks to all the keynote presenters who did an outstanding job. I've got a whole section full of notes that I'm going to go back and incorporate into some of my thoughts, and I'm sure my teammates have done the same thing. My hope is that you've learned something from us as a collective team as well during the process. Yeah, we often forget that it takes a lot of work to put one of these events on, so I would like to make sure that I publicly thank all the folks on the staff here, the ones that are sitting in the back that are making all the magic happen up here, and the ones that are not on stage for putting a fantastic event together. If you wouldn't mind, please give them a round of applause. So I don't think anyone could really question the importance of this symposium. This is the third year that we've done this. I think someone made a comment to me, hey, this seems like it has less people than last year. I assured them that is not the case. There are more. What you see is consistent engagement. There's not a lot of people coming and going. The majority of the folks are staying here and continuing to engage in the discussions. The other thing that was different was we actually had 2 capture the flag exercises. So another close to 300 people that were over in our great facility that Georgia resourced, our Georgia Cyber Center, starting yesterday with our future cyber warriors, as I refer to them. In the commercial sector, your future employees are going to help keep your network secure. We had high schools, junior highs, and even home schools participating. Culminated today with our competition with our university and military teams. But just a great event. So I've got a couple of takeaways that maybe some of you share the same takeaways, but a couple of thoughts I'll close with. One is it can't be business as usual in this. I think the Army has taken some tangible steps to not be business as usual. The Cyber Specialties Direct Commissioning Pilot Program is an example of that. Actually building a branch and a school is unique to it as a service and has done something about it. I think also the rapid stand-up of these public-private partnerships that, in my 32 years in the Army, private industry is often reluctant to work with the government because we have a reputation for being very slow-moving and a laborious monster to deal with, and that is certainly not the case here. So it's definitely not business as usual. I think one other thing toward not business as usual, we've got to redefine what a successful career means, and what I mean by that is in the Army. Once upon a time when I came in, you had to be in for 20 years, and if you weren't in for 20 years, by golly, it wasn't really a successful career. Why are you leaving so soon? We look at it differently now. If you serve for 2 years, 3 years, 20 years, 30 years, we're just fine with that. At the back end of that, you're going out into the civilian world at some point, and you're going to help us inform what was great about the Army or the military experience that you received or that your folks received, and then that creates an ecosystem where we benefit. As General Eubank pointed out, we want them first. I would say in some cases we want them first, but not in all cases. In some cases, we would love them to have experience in academia and experience in the private sector before they come and join the force. We utilize their talents for a while, whether they stay or whether they go back to industry. We all benefit regardless, but I just think we change the norm. I would say some radical change is probably required, and that's very true for the DoD. I think we're looking at a lot of things. One example is our revamping of our talent management process in the Army. That was unbelievably revolutionary compared to how we did it before. The last time was sometime in the early 80s that we looked at redoing a personnel system. So what it allowed was a marketplace where people could actually produce resumes of their skills that weren't necessarily on their records. They could compete for specific locations and specific jobs. And then those organizations could then go and look at the people that are interested in going into those organizations and start a dialogue. We've never done that before. We've always had hey, this is a requirement, this square peg goes in this square hole, and we move forward. We did not do business that way this year with our officer assignment cycle. So pretty radical, and we see that as being required. Third point, everybody wants the unicorns. I would argue that we do need a certain number of unicorns, but we also need thoroughbreds, and we also need quarter horses. And the unicorns, we should not be selfish with as organizations. We should allow them to potentially rotate between the civilian sector, the government sector, and go back and forth. And the approach and the analogy that I'm using is we will bring up the skill set and the game of civilian future employees, of military members, of government service, and academia all together if we look at it that way, because we need skill sets at different levels, but they've all got to be high end, and they've all got to be taken with that level of seriousness in our institutions of higher education, whether they're with the government or whether they're with the academic or commercial sector. I would say we did a good job this past couple of days of informing ourselves. I said my primary goal was to inform out of this. I think we need to do a more active job at informing our nation. One of the amount of requirements, but also the number of opportunities that are out there. Yes, our unemployment rate is going down, but there is so much untapped potential in the folks in our population, and the ability for us to make them successful. But we've got to get the word out broader. So I would say, we're doing our part to a degree with the new What's Your Warrior. It's the most revolutionary recruiting approach that I've ever seen in 32 years in the Army. That basically says there's 160 different jobs in the Army that you can have, and one of them is for you, and this line of work is for one of you. So there is a place for everybody in the government, whether whether you're a support contractor, whether you're a civilian, or whether you're an active service member. And I would say the same applies to the commercial sector. There is a position for every type of person in this line of work. And the last thing I'll close with is leaders and leadership matters. Yes, we need highly skilled technicians, but somebody's got to lead those highly skilled technicians. In my experience, it takes one to know one, and it takes one to lead one effectively. So it's how do we encourage some of those highly technical folks to be interested in being a leader? Well, I'd say the first thing that it starts with is you learn to be really good at something, and the next step is you teach it to somebody else. That's the first step of leadership, and then it goes from there. But we've got to have the ability to lead those very highly technical people, and it's normally highly technical people that are very, very good at that. So I ask you to think about it that way as we continue these conversations. Thank you so much for being a great partner to Fort Gordon and the Cyber Center of Excellence. Thank you, AFCEA, again. Thank you for all the academic institutions that participated in industry that I know time is money for every one of you. And thank you for seeing the goodness in making an investment and spending time with us today. Great event. Glad you got to witness the signing of that very important document with the South Carolina educational system. Those of you that live in the central Savannah River area, also known as the Fort Gordon Cyber District to some, know that now Georgia and South Carolina are more and more closely linked. We're going to be able to leverage one another's workforces and capabilities. And I think over time we're going to see other SCC states come in and join us. I know I've talked to at least one other here. But thank you very much for a great event. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, sir. Please welcome back to the stage Lieutenant General Bob Shea.
Okay. It's been a great couple days down here, and I'm not even going to begin to try to wrap it up because we covered so many great topics, important topics that are important both industry, government, as well as academia. But I would like to offer some thanks to several groups and people out here. First of all, the Army Cyber Command, Ron Pontius and General Fogarty who've been here, General Hersey and the great work that you're doing down here and bringing all this together. So thank you very much for everything you're doing. You've been great partners. We couldn't ask for anything more from an AFCEA perspective as it applies to our mission, trying to bring everybody together. So thank you very much again. Our local Augusta chapter down here, what a great chapter. I mean, the volunteers, you just can't make an event like this happen without great volunteers. And they've been a tremendous partner. They've been tremendous partners throughout the years. It's been a long time that we've been partnered together down here. So I want to thank them again, as well as our exhibitors and sponsors. Without you, we can't afford to do this. It's quite clear and quite plain to us. I think there's been a lot of great learning going on, a lot of great exchange of information, a lot of ideas. It's amazing the common challenges and the common problems across the entire spectrum, whether you come from industry, government, academia. Get a better understanding of the challenges that each other face, I think, is really important, and it's one of the real takeaways that I got coming out of this conference. I thought I knew a lot about this topic, and I sat down here just on the education, the training aspect, and the things that we talked about today, and I'm going, well, you're not nearly as smart as you thought you were about this topic. You got a lot to learn. And so that's kind of our commitment to the community, is to go out there and to further develop and bring this ethical exchange of information together so that we can, as a nation, along with our allies and our partners and nations that think similar to us, have a like way of life and think the same way we do, so we can put up the defenses that we need to make sure that our economy and our people flourish as we go forward. I want, speakers came from near and far, and nationally recognized speakers. I can't say enough and thank them enough for what they did. The hotel, they've always gone out of their way to help us down here, so I want to thank them as well. And last but not least, or not last yet, but I want to thank the AFCEA staff. There's a lot of churning going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of coordination with our partners out there. And without the great support of the staff and the work that they do, never complain, just make it happen, get it done, trying to accommodate everybody's needs. They just did a great job. I can't be more proud of them than I am. And last but not least, in terms of thanks, there's a gentleman sitting down here, Mike Warlick, that if you were paying him by the hour, we'd be broke. He's done a great job in coordinating all that and working with General Wood and everybody to bring this together. They're the ones, and Mike in particular is the one that needs to stand up and take a bow from an AFCEA perspective, along with the support he got from the entire staff for the great work that he did. So, Mike, thank you very much. And again, as I said before, this is a great event, an example how industry, government, and academia can come together to help frame the issues and help start working down the road to the challenges that we've got. So again, thank you all for your participation. This is an event that we can build on as we go forward. And one final thing, if you're not a member of AFCEA, I would encourage you to consider membership at AFCEA. Please visit the AFCEA membership while the booth is down. But if you go to the web, just Google AFCEA, you'll find your way to the registration, the membership portal there. So we certainly would welcome you. And finally, we've got 4 big events that are coming up. We got the Signal Conference that was mentioned before. We've got TechNet Cyber, which will be done. That will be in March. We've got TechNet Cyber that we'll be doing with DISA in the June time, early June, the first week of June, and we'll be back down here again in August. And for those of you who have an inclination and want to know what's going on at the TSSCI level, we've got an event that will be going on, our Spring Intelligence Symposium. I don't have the dates. I think that's April, but if you go to the website, it'll tell you what's going on. So if you want to know what's going on at the TSSCI level across a broad range of intelligence topics, it's just not cyber. It's about major issues that are confronting our national security efforts. There's a Spring Intelligence Conference that will be held at the TSSCI level, as I said. Again, thank you all for traveling. Thank you for your support. Thank you for what you're trying to do for your country and our partner countries. I hope you all have safe travels going back, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here in August. Thank you very much.